This is the brand new Mercedes-Benz EQS, the flagship all-electric Mercedes luxury car. And in this video, we are going over all the insane gadgets and gizmos, some of which will blow your mind. The front end of the Mercedes is super unique. So on either end, you've got your main headlight cluster, but they're connected in the middle via this continuous LED light bar. Looks super cool. And then in the headlights, you've got these three distinctive LED dots. Now the grille itself is filled in because it's electric. It doesn't need the same cooling capability as a standard gasoline vehicle, but rather than just a black panel, they've given you these little three-pointed stars throughout. At the rear of the car, that continuous LED design motive continues. So you can see one giant red strip that extends across the length of the vehicle. And then on the corners, of course, you have your tail lights, and these are represented by more of these little individual horizontal or maybe diagonal streaks.
This Halloween special video was brought to you by our friends at manscaped.com. Manscaped just came out with this. This is 16 ounces of metal goodness. It is their new body wash, and it is cruelty-free. It's even gluten-free, and it's vegan. And it has this handy-dandy pump. Solid, and it looks good. Offering full-body cleansing, this formula makes all hollows one hell of an eve. Getting the Performance Package Kit? I recommend it because it comes with the brand new Lawnmower 4.0, and this is everything you need to cut up that new undead dance floor for Halloween, baby. Want a hell of a discount? Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code FASTLANECAR for 20% off your order, plus free shipping. Your friends, both alive and undead, your balls, your body, and everyone around you will thank you. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the promo code FASTLANECAR at manscaped.com.
From a design standpoint, the Mercedes EQS is very unique. Not a lot of contrasting lines, not a lot going on with crazy angles or shapes whatsoever. It really is one continuous super aerodynamic design. Now let me know what you think in the comment section below. This small square on the side of the vehicle is where you fill the Mercedes up with washer fluid. That's right, so this door is where you pour in your windshield washer fluid. The charge port for the Mercedes is located back here toward the rear of the car. Push in on the corner, it glides open. You've got your level 1, level 2 J1772 connector, and underneath that, of course, your fast charging port, and that is backlit by these little white lights. The door handles in the EQS are super unique. So you can see they are flush mounted against the body. Now if I take the key, unlock the vehicle, they glide out. When I lock the vehicle, glide back in. But of course, being a Mercedes and a flagship Mercedes, it's not quite that simple because they are backlit by LED lights. You've got Mercedes-Benz written here in chrome, and they look fantastic. The actual pole, ooh, it's an electronic mechanism, but it feels great. What do you think of these wheels on this EQS? Now this is an aero wheel, so it's mostly filled in for the best possible aerodynamics, but of course, rather than just a simple plastic, they break it up with more of these little triangles, and that's contrasted against this 5-spoke design. Overall, I think they look really, really cool. There are going to be two configurations of the EQS sold here in the United States, the 450 Plus, which is this car, single motor rear wheel drive, and the 580, which is dual motor all wheel drive. I'll have exact pricing to you soon, so be sure to come back to TFLcar.com for all those details. Stepping inside the EQS is where your brain will really start to melt. We need to talk about the hyperscreen. 56 inches of screen space. Just incredible. This hyperscreen is optional on the 450, standard on the 580, and it does some really cool stuff. Check this thing out. One continuous pane of glass connects the left side of the vehicle to the right side of the vehicle. Unbroken, undisturbed, 3 screens live under this giant pane of scratch-resistant glass. And the screens themselves are pretty amazing. One of the coolest parts about the EQS is the configurable instrument cluster. Now you've got a bunch of different themes, I think is the best way to describe it. So you click the home button and you've got understated, which are 2 dials, but they don't tell you a lot of information. It's supposed to be kind of the relaxed, chilled out, I don't know, club kind of theme. Then you've got sport, which gives you this little G gauge. From there on, you got classic, so you've got speedometer and then power indicator on the right. From there, you've got navigation, makes a full screen, a nav system. And then you've got assistance, and that shows you where other vehicles are. Now these little red lights you see on the camera, you don't see those in person. That's just the video aspect of the camera. Now the center screen is the big attention grabber. Almost 18 inches of beautiful display. And if you're familiar with other Mercedes products, this will probably make sense to you pretty darn quickly because it is a version of the MBUX system and it works similar to other Mercedes products, just blown up to a ginormous scale. Now where it differs, of course, is that there are no physical climate controls. So the climate controls are actually integrated down here into the base of the screen. Of course, dual zone automatic climate control. But just look at the quality of that map. Look how detailed it is. You can pinch to zoom. You can, get your little Mercedes emblem there. It's of course all three-dimensional, so buildings appear as they would in real life. Incredibly detailed and incredibly beautiful display. Now, if we go to the home menu here, we can see some of the various features. So we've got applications. We've got all sorts of comfort settings, including massage. And of course, we've got tons and tons of different ambient lighting. 64 standard ambient colors to choose from. You can change the brightness. You can, of course, change the effects and really configure the interior exactly how you like. Now, the ambient lighting continues along the door. It's through the center of the dash. It's up here on the top of the vehicle near the dome light. It's in the rear. Super, super cool to play around with. One of the coolest parts about the EQS navigation is the charging integration. So not only does it show you where the chargers are located on the map, it will actually show you how many of them are occupied at any given time. So you can see 1 out of 1 is free in this one, 2 out of 2 is free over here. Super cool. This one has 7 out of 16 available, so it's all connected via the internet to know exactly how many vehicles are charging at any given time. And the other cool thing too is it's got a smart destination planner. So if I plugged in Denver, Colorado, I'm here in California, it will know where to stop and for how long to stop, which I think is pretty smart. Let's go ahead and give that a try. So we go to Denver, CO. Let's see what it comes up with. Sure, 941 miles. It's going to calculate the routes. It's all going to occupy the screen here. And then it'll show me the weather, but it'll most importantly show me,
please proceed to the highlighted route,
where to stop and for how long to stop, which I think is really cool and very smart. Down here in the center of the EQS is one of only a few panels that is not a digital touchscreen. It's a physical panel, but mostly haptic controlled. So we've got our dynamic select. You can change the different drive modes of the vehicle by cycling there. You of course have EQ info, which is going to be all your charging information to the right of that. Different quick shortcuts for the car settings. Of course, you've got physical buttons for the hazards and the power button. This is a little fingerprint reader, so you can change profiles in the car by using your fingerprint. To the right of that is, of course, power, and then you've got a little volume slider and a mute button. Now, the third screen, the panel on the passenger side, is rather different. Now, you can't actually control this panel unless the car senses that someone is sitting over here in the passenger seat, so it's not a distraction for the driver. But if you turn it on, you'll see you can control everything that you'd expect in the main screen from the passenger side. So radio, navigation, phone connectivity, it's all over here in its own separate little screen, which is great if you are a passenger. You can, for example, help navigate and pay attention to what's going on with the vehicle's location while the driver pays attention to what's happening on the road. One of my favorite design touches inside the EQS is all this yacht style wood. It looks fantastic. It's over here on the doors, and it's primarily located here in the center console. Just beautifully integrated, super high quality. And underneath this center panel in the middle, you've got your wireless phone charger, a couple of cup holders, and some USB-C ports. You have a total of 6 USB-C ports inside this vehicle, by the way. Check out the seamless integration of the air vents. First of all, they look fantastic. They look like little baby jet engines, and to open and close them, you turn on the middle of the jet engine and the whole thing kind of spins. That closes and opens the vent itself. Super high quality and feels amazing. The rear of the EQS is super sloped. It's meant to be as aerodynamic as physically possible. Now you'll notice a couple of different badges depending on the trim. This is the EQS 450 Plus, so this is the smaller of the two trims coming to the US. This one will do 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds. There's also the EQS 580, that's the all-wheel drive model. They say 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. Let's see how we get into the trunk. Push in on the Mercedes emblem and it glides open. And this is the car's biggest secret. It looks like it's a sedan, but it really is a full-on liftback, which makes this much more practical for loading bigger items or furry friends into the back of your EQS. Of course, push the button and it glides closed. So it may look like a sedan, but it's really a hatchback. One more thing worth noting, this vehicle of course does have a hood, but there is no front trunk. So what about range numbers? What everybody wants to know on an EV? I don't have them for you yet. We do know it is a 107.8 kilowatt hour battery, but official EPA numbers will be coming soon. In terms of charging capability, Mercedes says that you can charge the EQS from 0 to 80% in 31 minutes. Now, of course, you can also charge it at home using a level 1 or level 2 charger, as I suspect most people will do. You do, of course, have tons and tons of different seat options and colors. This one, of course, is finished in a black, very high quality leather, pretty supportive all the way around, and the seats are controlled like other Mercedes products here on the door panel, but unlike other Mercedes products, the actual seat controls don't really move that much. It's also more of like a touch sensitive design. Now above that, of course, you've got your seat ventilation and seat heating, and you can use this button to control the passenger seat from the driver's side. The back seat of the EQS is a pretty standard experience, loads and loads of space and legroom. I am 6'1", this is my driving position, and I can pretty much extend and be comfortable, and actually headroom really isn't all that bad either for taller individuals. It does of course have double sunroofs, one in the front and one in the rear. I forgot to mention the best part of the EQS, and that of course are the pillows on the headrests. They just feel fantastic. Now this is very different than the brand new S-Class that Mercedes just revamped. So even though it does have the name S in EQS, it's not based on the gasoline S-Class whatsoever. This is a new platform and very different both inside and out. Let's talk quickly about the competition to the EQS, because it is a little bit unusual. From the established OEMs like Audi, Porsche, you've got the e-tron GT and the Taycan, both of which I think are probably a little bit more sporty than the EQS. From Tesla, you of course have the Model S, and now we've got cars like the Lucid, which is a very expensive full-on luxury vehicle that's also competing in this hyper premium space. The Mercedes feels, at least without driving it, just, you know, initial impressions, very soft, very high quality, very tech focused, but in an old school kind of Mercedes sense of build quality and depth kind of way, if that makes sense. So all the materials are hyper well assembled. Everything you touch is just beautifully attached to the other components. It doesn't feel like a Model S. It's got its own extremely distinct kind of vibe as you get into the vehicle, and that is definitely a good thing in my opinion, because this is a vehicle I want to spend time in, and it's a vehicle that feels extremely high quality. Now, driving impressions and official detailed technical information about the EQS are still embargoed, so be sure to come back soon when I have all those details. This was just a quick walk around gadgets and gizmos to show you some of the insane tech in this new Mercedes. As always, let me know what you think in the comments section below, and we'll see you guys next time on another episode of TFL Car.